Hi, today we're cooking from the Cooks Illustrated September-October 2012 issue. There are some great recipes in this issue, and one of which is the Mediterranean braised green beans. These beans are different than the way we cook the green beans in the United States. These will be cooked in the oven as opposed to the beans that we cook in the U.S. that are mostly al dente or kind of crisp green beans. These are long and slow cooked in the oven. They're buttery soft. I wanted to show everybody the ingredients. This is by no means an endorsement of any of these manufacturers or producers of these products, but it's just what's at hand. And so the ingredients you'll be using, which you could find in the recipe, is tomato paste, 4 garlic cloves. The recipe calls for 1 onion, but these are small onions, so I'm going to use these 2 onions. I'm going to use diced tomatoes. Work's already done for us. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. This is baking soda that I normally take out of the baking soda box because it's a pain to deal with and you can't close it. And a pound and a half of fresh green beans and a fistful of parsley or a quarter of a cup. So what you have to do, and before I start, you can trim the green beans if you have a regular cook's knife at home, a chef's knife. You could use that, which is wonderful and versatile. But I just bought this new vegetable cleaver, and if you are in the market for a vegetable cleaver, this is a terrific tool to have. It is very light, and it has a lot more surface area to get to the vegetables. So let's take these string beans. You will have washed and rinsed them. And then you have to trim the ends, right? You have to trim this off the green beans. I'm going to remove that. There it is. These are all the ends from the other green beans I've already trimmed. And then I'm going to line them up again, and I'm going to trim away the ends. Do it one more time. Trim the ends of the green beans. Great. And then you have to cut the green beans in 2 to 3 inch pieces. And for most of these green beans, it is just cutting them in half, and that'll be 2 to 3 inch pieces. So you cut them in half. This is already a 2 to 3 inch piece. We leave that, and then you set them aside. Then I'll show you what to do, how to assemble the rest. I wanted to show everybody how to chop this onion finely. Like I said, the recipe calls for 1 onion, but I'm using 2. Think about it in terms of weight and in terms of mass, and that may really frighten some people. But anyway, 1 onion, you know what an onion looks like, and these onions are very small, so that's why I decided 2 of those would make 1. It doesn't matter if you add a little bit more onions, it's going to cook down and it's going to be even probably more flavorful for the dish. So I peeled the onion. I know everybody knows how to do that. I am in love with this vegetable cleaver, I must say. And here I go. So I'm slicing this onion this way, and then I am going to just chop it away this way. This is still too big. This is not fine enough. So I'm going to chop it this way, and then I'm going to chop it a little bit more. And then you know how to peel a garlic, right? The easiest way is to smash it, and then the peel comes right off the garlic. And the garlic that this recipe calls for, 4 cloves of garlic, have to be minced. So I will mince the heck out of this garlic. And then we will start assembling the recipe. One thing about the kind of pot that you will use, you're going to use a Dutch oven. This is a standard Dutch oven that's ceramic inside, and it will conduct heat very well, and it also goes in the oven. The oven right now, while I'm assembling all the ingredients, is preheating to 275 degrees. That is a very low oven because the string beans will cook for about 40 to 50 minutes until they're buttery soft. So I just wanted to show this fine chopping. Here is the onion finely chopped. You could chop it even finer than this, but I like a little texture to my green beans. Now I have 3 tablespoons of olive oil in here heating up. It's shimmering already because I can hear it sizzling when I add the onion. stray bits here. So we're going to add the onion to this. And we're going to let that brown, not brown, but just cook till it becomes translucent. It smells like delicious translucentizing onion here. This takes about 3 to 5 minutes. Watch your heat, everyone. This pot tends to get very hot quickly, which is the good news about that pot. Remember the oven, you preheated it to 275 degrees. It takes about 20 minutes to preheat an oven, so plan accordingly. I also have assembled here 1.5 cups of water that I'm going to add. I have some half a teaspoon of baking soda, like the recipe calls for, and I have here some cayenne pepper, a pinch of which is going to be added in a minute. Keep an eye on the onions. You don't want them burnt, but you do want them translucent. So about 5 minutes have passed. The onions are now translucent. I'm now going to add the garlic, the 4 cloves of minced garlic. Go right in. The garlic goes after the onions because the garlic cooks very quickly. And I'm going to add a pinch of cayenne pepper, just for a little bit of flavor. This is a pinch, 1/8 of a teaspoon, not a lot, just a little bit of flavor. We're going to cook this so the garlic is nice and fragrant. Then we're going to add, this is about 30 seconds, adding the water now, 1.5 cups of water, the baking soda, and the prepared green beans. We're going to let this cook down for approximately 10 minutes. Right, you see that the heat has changed in the pot because we've introduced something cool. That is the water and the green beans, the string beans. And you want to add your 1.5 pounds of string beans to the pot. These were pre-cut this morning. This is a little trick for those of you who don't have like a big stretch of time in which to cook, is to maybe trim the ends the day that you only have 10 minutes, and that shouldn't take longer than 10 minutes. And then when you have like an hour of prep time, then you can start doing the rest of the prep for the recipe. So I'm going to leave this alone for 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and see how that looks. So we bring these string beans to a simmer, right? And you see it's simmering. It's just all the ingredients that we have in here. I'm not going to recap those for you. You should have been paying attention. And we're going to let this simmer. We'll turn this to low. It's now on low. And we're going to simmer this for 10 minutes. And then we're going to add the tomato paste and the tomatoes. Okay? So we will simmer it for 10 minutes, and I'll see you shortly. Let's check on these beans. 10 minutes have elapsed. They look like the variety that you might get in any American U.S. kitchen. For our international guests, we will have metric conversions for the recipe. Hello, Berlin, everyone. Here is the diced tomatoes that we had, 14.5-ounce can. That is the tomatoes and their juice. You can chop these further. I don't want to bother. So I'm just going to toss these in here. And here is the 1 tablespoon of the tomato paste. That's going in, as well as you can see right here, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper. Both are going in. Oopsie. And I'm stirring that up. And on top of that, I am also adding 1 teaspoon of salt. I like to keep my salt out to, and I know exactly what 1 teaspoon looks like. It looks about this. It may seem like a lot, but it isn't. It's 1 teaspoon of salt to flavor the entire dish. Also, remember I used the tomatoes that were unsalted. You don't have to use those, but keep in mind, for those of you who are salt conscious, how that will affect how you salt the tomatoes. So this is ready to go in the oven. Close this. We set our timer for 40 minutes to check on it. 40 to 50 minutes, depending on I have no idea, on the calibration of your oven, probably. Anyway, and then I want to go back to show our viewers this parsley, and I'm so happy and I'm about this parsley because it comes directly from our garden. It is mid-November in New York State, and we have beautiful parsley still. So I would encourage everybody to put in a parsley garden or an herb garden or something, because you can use it up until, well, we'll see how we're doing in December with our parsley. Maybe move it indoors. But I'm going to chop this up to measure a 1/4 cup, and that's how we're going to finish the dish. But for now, it's 40 to 50 minutes. You can now start prepping for whatever it is that you want to cook. And watch for further videos so you see what else you can cook in those 40 to 50 minutes. Let's take a look at those beans. They're the green beans. Let's see if we can cut them with a fork. Yeah, perfect. Did you see that? They're tender enough to cut with a fork. So they are ready. Let's finish them. The recipe calls for finishing the beans with a 1/4 cup of chopped parsley. So I'm going to throw the parsley on. And also with some red wine vinegar, which I'm going to drizzle on. So here we go. And a little red wine vinegar. Just a little bit. It's to taste. And it really highlights the notes of the beans and the acidity of the tomatoes. And finally, and this you can use your judgment, you can drizzle 2 tablespoons of olive oil to finish off the beans. And that, here we are with our Mediterranean braised string beans. It's delish y mas. Happy cooking, everyone.